Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast, Road Rant Series, the DTE series. DTE meaning distance to empty. Today is June 1st, 2026, and I'm your host, Gumballhead. Today, it is 73 miles is our DTE, and as we start this podcast off, it's 62 degrees here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and man, what a wild, wild week. It's been a minute since we podcasted here. We have done a few TikToks this week, but we were on vacation last week with the family, and we didn't podcast. So we have a lot to talk about over the next couple of days. Today we're going to focus on the Bears, and outside of that, we're going to focus on growth on our Purple app, the Twitch app, conversations as well. So today we're going to talk about the Bears that we saw, and we're going to talk about growing our Twitch stream, and we're going to kind of chronicleize that journey over the course of the next month or so. So get ready for a mildly entertaining but informational podcast today. It was a great week last week, and kind of not looking forward to going back to work. We're going to talk about our health a little bit today as well. So first and foremost, when anybody goes on vacation, there's a high likelihood, not complete likelihood, but a high likelihood that they're going to gain a little bit of weight. And I gained a little bit of weight over the course of the week. And it's ironic because I gained weight, but I did more exercise during this past week than I typically do in an average week. I spent a lot of time walking with the family. We spent a lot of time downtown. Somehow our DTE just went up to 72. We were at 71. Weird. But we walked a lot downtown. We walked through the mountains. We saw some waterfalls. We did a lot of driving. But it just seems weird because I put on a little extra weight. I don't know if it was because of the food that we consumed, if it was a matter of eating 3 meals a day, if it was a matter of, healthy weight or not healthy weight, but definitely put some weight on last week, which this old body cannot handle very much. I have been paying attention to what I put into my body, and last week, kind of ate what we got given to us, and that was the way it was. Now, I'm surprised. It's 7:30 in the morning, and the sun is up. It's out. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 6:42, and the sun was out, and it was kind of like, what in the world is going on? And it's obviously getting lighter during the mornings, and it's staying lighter longer during the day. We saw a lot of waterfalls, a couple of waterfalls, and our little ones, the walking ones, our toddlers, they splashed in the creeks in the mountains of the Smokies, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And man, has that place changed a lot since I was younger. I haven't been there in 20 plus years, and when I was there, I remember driving through and seeing all the mountains and everything, but I don't remember it looking like the Vegas Strip, and now it's just extremely overpopulated with the best liquor prices in Gatlinburg and the best, best entertainment. There was multiple miniature golf courses. There were multiple bumper cars, race cars, go-karts, golf carts, and then there were rides to the top of the mountain in a tram, and everything was $50 each or more, depending on where you went. Dollywood was, for our entire household to go to Dollywood, was going to cost almost $700, and so we just got to do, affordable stuff. And the irony in it is we actually did have a great time, and we spent less money than I had anticipated. We did some sightseeing, we did some souvenir shopping, we did some tastings, we did, some stuff. But like I said, my old body is wrecked, and it's an excuse. It's an excuse for me to not be in shape. Obviously, I got to start losing some weight, and all the work that we put in kind of went to the wayside with our little trip. So doctor's appointment today. We get to go see the doctor today and talk to the doctor. Now, I have had some cardiovascular issues recently since I started taking these new medications. I've increased bloating. I've got edema in one of my feet. Just one of them, though. It's not in both feet. Usually I would be concerned with a blood clot or something along those lines, but it has a lot to do with the medications that I'm taking. And ironically, I drink a lot of water, and my body's just not getting rid of it. So as you guys listen to this podcast, these are some things to be mindful of in your own body and be mindful of with yourself. And the fact that, our bodies, as they get older, our systems start to shut down. Now, I was thinking about this while we were on vacation. Our child, our baby, is 10 weeks old now. She'll be 11 weeks this week. And the next week, I could stop calling her by the weeks. I could start calling her by the months. But she's 11 weeks this week, and her heart rate is extremely high, not dangerously high. She's up where she needs to be for an infant. But I kind of thought about this over the course of our vacation. That heartbeat's really high when they're young, as their heart is building that muscle. And as we get older, our heart rate starts to decrease and our blood pressure starts to decrease. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that muscle is building. And the stronger that muscle is, the less hard that body part has to work. Same thing goes with your arms and your legs. Same thing goes with, all of our body systems. Is the more in shape it is, the less hard it has to work. And that's why our blood pressure increases as we get older, because we do less. We perform less activities, and we usually get a little bit more lax in our day-to-day as a result of, our physical activities. And it's a struggle. And my body hurts because I'm using those areas of my body a little bit less. And it's encouraged me to get up and move more. It's encouraged me to work out more. Now, my legs after Sonic Temple were killing me. My knees, my ankles, my hips, my thighs, my calves, my back was bothering me. Sonic Temple, I think we walked a total of 7 miles that day, according to my handy-dandy little watch. And, man, oh man, did I feel kind of crappy for a few days after that. 68 miles still empty. But a lot of it had to do with the fact that those body parts don't get worked that much anymore. And putting extra effort into them causes that discomfort and pain. And nobody likes discomfort and pain. So if we just match our daily exercise with the amount of calories we intake, as long as there's a deficit, there should be a change. Now, I just had blood drawn on Saturday, and that blood draw revealed to me that my helper, my little TSH, it's called thyroid stimulating hormone, is still extremely out of whack as a result of my Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a autoimmune disease, but it affects our thyroid, and our thyroid is what helps us lose weight. And my TSH levels were extremely high, and when it's high, it means that our pituitary gland is not putting out the hormones that our body needs to burn calories. And being on this medication that I'm on is supposed to decrease those levels and afford our thyroid the opportunity to produce these hormones so that it can help us burn calories better and easier with lower levels of exercise. That's another reason why I've been such a hefty guy my entire life, as a result of my thyroid. Now, I don't use it as an excuse. I don't have the best diet in the world. It's not the worst diet in the world either, but it's definitely not a great diet, and I do need to increase my exercise. My body needs that, and my body deserves that. And the goal is to lose that weight so that we can make sure that we're around for our children as we're chasing them around. Got a lot of kids to chase around, and it's hard, but I've been making a substantiated effort in order to get up off the couch and do things with my children, as opposed to just sitting on the couch when I get home from work. Now, I, in my mind, say, hey, you know what, I worked hard today, whether it was at work or whether it was at side work, And I deserve that relaxation. I deserve that rest, and we do. However, things change as we get older, and we still need to put in that effort, still need to put in those extra minutes doing that cardiovascular work, and still need to put in that extra time of walking and moving around. So will walking help you lose all that weight? Not in itself, but once we start paying attention to the exercise and the work that we're putting into our body, we start paying a little bit more attention to the food that we put into our body. Let's talk about the bears a little bit now. During our travels, as we were driving, we went to a place called Cades Cove up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Cades Cove is a beautiful drive-through. It's about 24 miles long through the Smoky Mountains. And through the duration of the Smoky Mountains, we actually saw some bears. As a matter of fact, shortly after we pulled into this location called Cades Cove, we saw a mama and 3 little baby bears. And they were out in the field, and people were out watching these bears go through. And, you know, there was two things that I marveled at during this time. Number one, these are real live bears. They live in the wild. Okay, they hunt and fish, and they eat berries, and they play and they frolic, and they sleep in the wilderness, and they are savages. They're hunters, and people are out of their car watching these bears like they're some kind of what you normally see in a zoo. I was going to say like some kind of animal, but that's exactly what they are. Now, the bears come close to the people because they're used to the people being there. But they're not friendly. They're bears. They're still wild animals. And people were trying to get close to these bears thinking, maybe they can pet them, or how close can we get to these bears before they attack? Just a reminder for those people that are traveling to areas where there are wild animals, they are very protective of their home. They are very protective of the wilderness. And if you get too close and they get scared, they will attack you. And yes, it's a pretty little black bear. Little tiny baby bears. But the little tiny baby bears always have a mom nearby. And that mama bear will rip your head off. So be mindful of that if you guys are traveling this summer, especially to areas that have, black bears and stuff like that. They are cute, they are furry, they are fluffy, they're in the wild. And yes, they may come close to you, but spook them and they will act like bears. I don't care if it's a black bear, a grizzly bear, a polar bear, a panda bear, a koala bear, or a stuffed animal bear. If you piss them off, they're going to react. But that being said, it was a beautiful opportunity for us to see, animals in nature without them being behind bars, without them being behind plexiglass. My kids had a wonderful time. Some other things that we saw while we were out and about, we saw some really extremely pretty butterflies, very vivid colors, blues and reds, and butterflies that we don't see in Ohio very often, probably because of the environment, but the colors were just so vivid. They looked like flowers in an AI-generated photograph, but if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would not have believed the vividness of the colors that these butterflies produced. My daughter chased a blue butterfly for about 40 seconds until she got close to catching it a couple of times, and I'm like, don't catch the butterfly. Why not? Because I know you. If you catch it, you will kill it, and I don't want that to happen. Even picking up rocks, my kids were splashing in the creek. They were enjoying their time, and they kept picking up rocks and silt from the creek bottom. And I asked them not to do it as a result of, leave nature where nature is, leave it alone, so that nature can continue to do its thing. Because when people start messing with things in nature, especially in the mountains and areas where they do allow you to play in the creeks, they do allow you to get in the water, those areas are, beautiful and accessible because people don't mess with it. And when people start messing with it, that's when they start putting up the fences and start putting up the blocks to where you can't get in the water and play, to where you can't enjoy nature to its fullest. Be kind to the nature that surrounds you. That's not just in national parks, guys. Stop throwing stuff out your window. Save your trash. Throw it in the proper places. Because I was thinking about this too. Amazon has grown to be such a large conglomerate. And there are a lot of times where Amazon will have those flash deals, flash sales. Now think about it. You may be on Amazon and you'll see that there's 145 left of an item. That means there's been millions sold because look at how many people are on the planet. Amazon has had access to these opportunities because they're closeouts or clearances, or they're no longer in production, or they're last year's model, or whatever it is. They're promoting a headset right now, one that I actually use on a daily basis called Shokz. It's a bone. I can't think of it. But it doesn't have speakers. Bone condensing headset, and the speaker rests on your ear, and it pushes the information into your ear as a result. And it's instead of it going into your ear, it goes through that little ear pod that's on the outside of your ear, that little ear nipple that you have. And the headphones are usually around 110, 120 bucks. They're on sale right now on TikTok for around $54. And like I said, I use these headphones. I wear them at work. I wear them all day long. And I wear them so much that they're so comfortable that I don't take them home. Or sometimes I do take them home. I do not take them off during the day because I forget that they're there. And they're comfortable. And they work. And they're how I communicate with everybody that calls me, because I'm on the phone all day long. So those headphones are being consumed by the consumers. Now they're doing a huge push right now on TikTok as a result, and they're selling them out. They're selling out the final, however many they have. But this is, look at all the products that Amazon sells. How many different warehouses Amazon has. How many different locations things come from Amazon. If those places shut down, there would be millions and millions and millions of items that would be available that would end up in a landfill. But right now they're currently in a warehouse, and that warehouse is constantly changing. There's a constant rotation of items that go into Amazon and out of Amazon, and they're a big supplier and a big wholesaler of these items. And if we were to take all these items that are being consumed by the consumer and put them somewhere, such as a landfill, it would consume and occupy a substantiated amount of space. And that's kind of scary to think about, all of the things that we consume as America. We're addicted to cheap items. We're addicted to affordable items. How much money do we spend on a regular basis to buy these things that the quality has substantially dropped over the years? Now, these headphones that I'm talking about, they're high quality. Okay? But think about the hammers that are out there. Think about the power tools that are out there. I noticed this while I was in a store the other day. They sell a lower quality reciprocating saw and a lower quality power drill. Why? Well, because they can. Because these items are cheap and affordable. And not everybody needs to have the latest and greatest yellow and black, or the latest and greatest, rigid power tools or Milwaukee power tools. They just need a power tool to, do that quick project. So they sell a lower quality, and people buy that lower quality as a result because it's more affordable. And for the amount of use they're going to use, people are intelligent about that. And I just think about it, and it's like, man, it's a lot of batteries, it's a lot of tools out there, a lot of junk. What happens when those tools break down? If we were consumers of quality products, we would have less landfills, we would have less pollution, we'd have less, trash in our lives. But because of the quality of products being reduced substantially, we're consuming more and buying more, and we're retaining less as a result. It works that way with our minds, and it works that way with our bodies as well. Make sure you're putting the good fuel into your body. Make sure you're putting the good intelligence into your body. Make sure you're using the proper equipment for the job that includes using your mind and your body in ways that it's intended, and not doing stupid stuff like the TV show Jackass. While entertaining, those guys are going to suffer from a lifelong of abuse to their own bodies. We do the same thing as adults because we don't realize it when we're younger that we're abusing those tools and we're abusing those machines, and eventually those machines will break down. Keep that in the back of your minds today as you guys go through your day. And until our paths cross, stay strong, stay focused, stay sober. Much love. We'll see you soon.